We back, man. Let's be real. Episode 190. How y'all doing, fellas?
Man, we good. We creeping up to 200. Creeping on up
Yes.
there.
Let's go.
What the?
Yep. See Eva in the background.
Bro said, don't forget to mention me.
one of these.
Don't forget to mention me, Dad.
Come on, man.
Yep. Happy Wakanda Forever weekend, everyone.
Please go see it because we're talking about it on social media Monday. I'm giving y'all this weekend.
Jeez,
Yeah,
bro.
I'll just have to stay off social media till next weekend.
Right.
That's all the time I can
Stay on
go.
social media.
Right.
I'm giving y'all this weekend. Y'all might have to block me or mute me or something, but we going in.
Actually,
Hey,
so it is what it is.
You can't be worse than the Twitter check marks that we seen this week.
Bro, everybody verified out here.
All right, man. Let's get this started. Let's be real. All right. Before we get started, I have to say huge prayer. Be sure y'all say a prayer for a huge fan of our show, a good friend of mine, Ryan Harris. Just send prayers for your boy. Don't know what's going on, but just send a prayer for him. But remember, you can always follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and IG, and TikTok at LBR_media, and starting to drop clips for every episode for y'all to tune in. Of course, y'all can catch us on YouTube live every Saturday morning and on any podcasting platform on 11 different platforms. But of course, Scouting, big week for Memphis basketball this past week. Just go through everything that's happened since last Saturday night after the football team, everything basketball.
Yeah,
I was like, let's keep it positive. Let's keep it positive.
Because if I can mention the football game for 1 second, that 4th and 15 big dog. Hey, bro.
Hey, you generous. You generous. It was 16. It was 16.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. But if we're going to talk about more positive news, Memphis did pick up 2 big-time recruits last week. One more specifically that a lot of people may be familiar with is Mikey Williams, a big basketball recruit that has a huge following on all different social media platforms. Was definitely, I think, at one point, definitely doing a lot of movement in terms of athletes of his stature in high school potentially going to HBCUs and giving them that light. So he did, along with a friend of his, I think JJ Taylor, I think is his name, something like that. He's also coming as well too. So in a year where Penny didn't go after much recruits and essentially decided to, I'm gonna have a veteran team. I'm gonna have a team full of veteran guys that's been in college basketball for some time. And so now to kind of flip the script again and say, in my opinion, that I can still recruit, I can still get the best of talent. And so for him to get those recruits as early as they did, like they were essentially talking about like, no, we're about to go ahead and like sign the letter of intent and everything, like we're about to get everything official. So to like for him to get those recruits, but then also like confirm, seal, and deliver, like they were already signed. So it's huge for them in their quest to do something dangerous in the NCAA tournament. So what do y'all think about those 2 recruits?
I think like even just going back to last season when the whole Memphis media was in a frenzy when Penny Hardaway was talking and calling out people and doing as he should have done. Everybody was like, no, this is going to hurt. Oh, we're going to fire Penny. Oh, this is going to hurt recruits. And I remember a bunch of us on this podcast, including myself, was like, this is going to help recruiting, especially me. I love the fact that Penny was able to do what he did last season with the team that he had, despite the controversy with, certain players who's actually balling right now. Shout out to him. But he was able to manage and go through that whole media frenzy, and the players loved him for it. He stuck up for his players, and he's the player coach. And what we're seeing now is the culture of Memphis, which has been Penny Hardaway since day one. People see the culture of Memphis, not only in Memphis Tigers basketball, but Memphis Grizzlies basketball as well. And so for you to get, you got pretty good recruits, so far so good. But now for you to get a player that I've been a huge fan of, for a minute, Mikey Williams, for him to put on a Memphis uniform is going to be pretty special. And it's also serving my theory that, bro, Brunny, what you doing, bro? What you doing? But that's just as far as recruitment. What I'm seeing from Memphis Tiger basketball, unselfish basketball, Lito, you hit it right on the head. As far as veteran leadership, hell, we got the professional student athlete playing for us at this point. It's about time we do something with it. You know what I'm saying? But salute to Alo, salute to Penny, salute to everybody that's doing their thing. Kendrick Davis, it's a lot of talk about him, and he hasn't failed so far. I know it's pretty early, but you can just tell that it's something different with the chemistry with this Tigers, and I'm expecting a really good season this year.
Yeah, I can care less about the recruits. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. Congratulations, everybody. Penny Hardaway knows how to recruit. Like we kind of knew that story already when he first got to Memphis. All I care about is results. Get it done. At this point, I've seen Michael Williams play. Of course, everybody that follows basketball has seen Michael Williams play, so I know what he could potentially bring to it. But I just need to make sure that he's going to buy into what Penny is selling when it comes to on the court things. As far as what Penny can do for him, as far as his brand and all that, I'm pretty sure that's going to help. But on the floor, are you going to buy into what Penny is trying to preach here in Memphis? That's the only thing I care about. As far as the game, I believe against Vandy, I was highly impressed with how they were able to come out. Had me a little concerned because I really felt that they should have blown Vandy off the floor with the way that they was playing, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then it's still burnt in my brain. I don't know why in the blue hell Penny decided to call an ISO play for Alex Lomax, but I'll look past it because we got the W. But in the end, man, it's a good look. Memphis is on the upcline as far as basketball is concerned. It looked no further than the Grizzlies and the Tigers. But I'm not celebrating, big time recruits coming here. I need to make sure that you're buying in to what we as a basketball program and what we as a city is looking to do. And at this point, Penny, all I gotta say is get it done, and I know you can. So that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, I'm somewhere between Trevor and Tuke. Same thing. We know Penny can recruit, right? One of my biggest regrets is not seeing Michael Williams in person. I was supposed to see him last year, but me asking Savage to get the tickets in time to go see him. But I did get to see Bronny and Penny's son this year, which that's another recruit. He's probably gonna get Ashton, and he's good. His son, his youngest son. So he'll probably be in next year's recruiting class as well. If he can pull off getting Bronny, hey, the sky's the limit. But kind of to Trevor's point, I've seen him with young teams before. So we've seen what's happened when you had young teams. So it kind of is a little leery because all the veterans will be gone next year. Kendrick Davis, what's my guy, DeAndre Williams, Alo, all of them will be gone. So it'll be a completely young team. So it does give you pause for it, just so Penny would have to prove himself.
Alo may be back, bro. You never know. Alo may be back.
Nah, he'll be back on the sideline as an assistant. Yeah.
Right. This is COVID year. This is absolutely
in the back of the car.
This is absolute last year. It was his last year 2 years ago.
No, it wasn't. We all knew he could come back.
It felt like it.
It felt like it, but no, it wasn't.
He met DeAndre Williams. So yeah, that would give me a little, scared for next year. But I do believe that the year that James Wiseman was here, if that stuff never went down NCAA, that team would have been good. Last year, he tried to mix new freshmen in with a veteran team that just clashed. So I have some belief in that. As for this year, the team looked good. I mean, the Vanderbilt game was very impressive. I'm not sure if Vanderbilt's going to be that good this year, but a road win in a hot gym with no air, you got to applaud for that.
Y'all got to do something about that. I'm sorry. Y'all in the SEC. Y'all making some kind of money in some shape or form. Come on now.
Well, they treat their sports teams like Memphis treat their football team. They ain't putting no resources in it, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, hey, shout out to Penny for getting us past the homecoming, what happened earlier that day, and what's happened the last couple of weeks until they finally won this past Thursday against Tulsa. Shout out to him Saturday night for getting everybody back pumped up about Memphis sports, because after that game, the homecoming game, on homecoming weekend, I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't even go to the game. A lot of people just stay out there and tailgate. If I wasn't sick, I'd probably been out there tailgating. So, hey, shout out to Penny, man. Appreciate you. And we're ready for the rest of the season.
Anybody else got something on Memphis basketball?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought he was about to transition to the next topic. But no, I think just to add, my 2 cents on it, and then I think we can move on. I think what I am excited about, and I think there's a realization that's been had on his end, is going after better point guard play. I think that's something that I've seen over the past 2 years. Again, getting Kendrick Davis this past year, and then going after the likes of Michael Williams, in my opinion, I think that's good. And then also realizing he needs that shooter as well too. So I think Sharky, I'm with you, and I think I'm kind of with all of y'all when Sharky says that, again, I've seen him recruit, and the team is young, but then I also want to make sure that he still gets a veteran, some type of transfer in there somewhere, somebody to kind of like hold that team together, because I think that's something that he's either like had that person but then didn't have the point guard, or has the point guard but then doesn't have the other thing. So like I kind of want to see him kind of like all put it together, hoping like this is kind of one of those runs or those seasons where like, okay, so they lost the first round game last year. Can they get to, can they win a game? Can they win 2 games? And then the next year, then can they make it to the Sweet 16? Can they make it to the Elite 8? That's how teams become a program. So like that's kind of what I'm hoping like this year is a staple to say like, Memphis is here. Memphis can compete with anybody else.
So you're saying an Elite 8 appearance would probably establish that?
Yeah, Sweet 16, Elite 8-ish, yeah. But then you also have to be able to do those like kind of in consecutive years. So you can't like go Elite 8 one year, or maybe go Sweet 16 one year and then like not make the NCAA tournament again the next year. Then it's just like
I'll just keep it small. I'll be nice. Sweet 16 appearance, and you win the AAC. I know Houston is projected to win, and I know Houston is legit. But if you can accomplish 2 of those things, or at least at the very least get to have a Sweet 16 appearance, I think you're trending in the right direction.
For sure. Yeah, or at the very least, even like you said with Houston, maybe last year we beat Houston twice in the regular season, but lost them in the conference championship. Some type of things like that where you're competing with Houston, like consistent,
Yes.
like you're up there with them for sure. Because next year those teams are out the conference, and you better be dominating like the Conference USA days.
You better have a hell of a non-conference schedule.
Which give him credit he's trying to do.
I will give him that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But transition forward with the Brooklyn Nets. We didn't record last week, and there's so much we can go with this. But because 3 Hardaway podcast and 2 of the members on here, shout out to y'all, Tev and Trev, along with Savage and Trevor replacing Sheedy for last week. Y'all did a great job with the Kyrie topic, man. I mean, that was spot on. That's what everybody need to hear for that topic. That was very well said. So because we all in the same network, and so it's a lot more going on than just Kyrie with the Nets. We had skipped that topic and head towards the head coaching topic, which Steve Nash was fired last week. And this week they have officially gave the job, at least the rest of this season, took the interim tag off him. Gave it to Jacque Vaughn. So what are y'all thoughts about Jacque Vaughn finally getting an opportunity again after pretty much being robbed of opportunity 2 years ago? We'll start with Tev and then suck around for Trevor.
The resident Brooklyn Nets fan on this podcast.
I'm just a fan of the players, but it is what it is. Definitely, I appreciate the words. I appreciate everybody on social media responding to the way that they did. I just want to create conversation, you know what I'm saying? And if you hadn't checked that part of the episode, if you haven't checked out the episode, period, please go ahead and do that right now. But as far as the Jacque Vaughn hiring, it's good to see KD happy. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the numbers they did, the ESPN did numbers, I think last night or the day before, where it's like they top 4 defensively now. Rather when Nash was coaching, they were in the bottom. So you clearly see that Nash was the problem. KD told y'all in the summer, I don't want to play for this dude anymore. Y'all waited, you know what I'm saying? And Nash, speaking of Nash, like I remember seeing 2-3 games with them putting Ben Simmons at shooting guard. I can't make this up. So the fact that that Vaughn was able to say use Ben Simmons, in a way that he's supposed to be used as a big inside whatever, you seeing a better defensive squad. You seeing them win games without Kyrie Irving. You see Kevin Durant, like I said, happy and wanting to be there, and you see them, a game away from being a top 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. And we're gonna keep going forward in there. All they need is progression. And I think they're gonna get that as soon as Kyrie Irving gets back, whenever he gets back. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think this was a good hiring. I think that if Kyrie Irving wasn't in the media, with this promotion of the video that he had nothing to do with, I think that, we would see Coach Udoka as the Nets coach. But I think it was way too much to bring in Udoka at this time right now. So that's all I have to say.
And also, before Trevor go with Kyrie, it's seeming like he's on the way back. He did apologize right after he got suspended. Then he's met with Adam Silver and met with the owner, and both of them have spoke saying they don't believe he has, any hatred towards Jews and all this stuff. So
They
it seems like
listen.
They listen. That's all.
That laundry list they said he need to do to get back. Now that was pitiful. that was ridiculous. So I hope you don't
get
have
me
to
started.
do all those things again. But it looks like he's on his way back. Just
a couple things, man. First and foremost, Steve Nash wasn't the problem with KD and Kyrie was pushing for this man to become the head coach in the first place. Because if he was that much of a problem, then Kenny Atkinson would still have a coaching job right now. And the reason they got him out was they didn't want to be coached. They wanted to come in and do just whatever the hell they want. And that thing because Steve Nash was their guy, their buddy, that they could just run ruckshot over the franchise. And you see how that's turned out.
That's fair, but they had a full summer camp, and we see lineups with Ben Simmons.
Well, no, I understand. Now I was going to get to that. Steve Nash's coaching, it hasn't been the greatest, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I touched on this briefly on Three the Hardaway, where why are you having everybody switch everything when you don't have size and you end up with ridiculous mismatches that the other team is just going to exploit every single time. But in the case of Jacque Vaughn, man, I'm happy that he has the job. Let's just keep it a bean. He's officially the placeholder. I hate to say it. Ime Udoka is going to be the coach of the Brooklyn Nets. Mark my words here. Because what's going to happen is Jacque Vaughn is going to be – they're going to, quote-unquote, blame Jacque Vaughn for why the Brooklyn Nets don't make the playoffs this season when, let's just keep it a bean, this roster as currently constructed is just god-awful. They have no size. They can't stop a cold. Yeah, they're playing better defensively now, but as I've been saying in my League Pass Trevor notes, this is the honeymoon phase. Like that honeymoon, let's just all go out and hoop type of deal. But when shit hits the fan and it's going to hit the fan, then all this stuff is going to resurface. The Kyrie issue is going to resurface. KD is going to want out once again. Who knows what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. Then in this offseason, you're going to hear all that's going on. Then you're going to look up. Jacque Vaughn is gone as coach. And then maybe a couple of weeks later after that, you're going to hear the Celtics officially fire Ime Udoka because let's just keep it a bean. They're going to fire him. The only reason they didn't fire him in the first place because he took them to the finals last season. And then a couple of weeks after that, before training camp starts, you're going to hear Ime Udoka is going to be named the coach of the Brooklyn Nets. And all is supposedly going to be well because by that time, Kyrie Irving will be gone. Kevin still has a couple of years left on his contract. And then finally, just maybe they're going to do everything to keep Kevin Durant happy.
Well, you talking like you had a deal. You had to talk with Jesus or something.
I'm just keeping it real. I'm just playing it just based on what I see, man, because it.
Well, we seeing two completely different things, but I'm going to let the rest of the brothers know.
Yeah, I think this mess that's going on is only going to get worse before it gets better. And Ime is going to be there. I guarantee you. And then from there, who knows what's going to happen with Brooklyn.
If I can be toxic for the next 2 minutes, if I can troll, we haven't trolled on the show for quite some time. So if I can do that,
you troll me every episode.
Oh, it's not your turn yet. Just
first
of all, Jacque.
Thank you.
First of all, shout out to Jacque Vaughn for getting the for having the interim tag taken off, for becoming the Brooklyn Nets head coach. So now that that's out the way, I just wanted to see some toxicity. I just want to see drama. I think one thing that I love about the NBA is the drama. You already got drama in LA, and the Lakers are looking terrible. They can't shoot the ball. That's a story within itself. Another story that you want to look or pay attention to is what the hell the Brooklyn Nets are doing. First of all, even the thoughts of firing Steve Nash, who, in my opinion, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving handpicked. That move was wrong. So then now them trying to make all of these decisions. Now they want Ime Udoka, who that's a whole nother different storyline within itself. I kind of wanted to see all that mess come together because I like drama. I love being trolled on national television. So I kind of wanted to see it. Like I said, I just wanted to troll for 2.5 minutes. But I think what Trevor's saying is right. I think depending on how things go for the next couple of weeks, because I still don't believe that their Brooklyn Nets roster roster works. Why? Because it's the same roster in some form or fashion. Just take some players out and add it to them. The same roster we've seen for the past 3 years. It does not work. They do not play defense. It really just seems as if Kevin Durant cannot lead a team by himself. And honestly, that's how I'm taking it at this point in my time. So we already know what's going to happen. I just kind of wish they would have sped the process up and went ahead and hired Udoka, even though, Silver has something to do with it.
Yeah, of course. I'm just hoping Jacque Vaughn, like I said, when he coached them in the bubble that year, the rate was Jacque Vaughn needs a head coach job. And then he didn't get the job, and he's remained on staff to be assistant coach under 2 coaching regimes. And other thought was like, why he's still there, right? Like, and I understand private wise, family. He might have got wife and kid. He does have a wife because his press conference, he said, his wife wasn't his wife. He said he wasn't his first choice. He probably wasn't his first choice for his wife. So him being not being the first choice with the Nets did bother him. But there may be a reason why he's still there, because she probably wants to stay. They probably want to stay in New York. Probably want to stay. So I really feel like this is his opportunity, if not to be the head coach of the Nets for the future, to get a shot somewhere else. Although I feel like he shouldn't have to prove himself. He already proved himself. But unfortunately, that's what it takes for black coaches, right? I hope he gets a shot. What scares me about the Nets is Kyrie when he comes back. Right now, they're gelling well without him. Playing defense without him. Kyrie is one of the worst defenders in the league. And that one bad defender could come back.
Their whole big 3 are terrible defenders. Let's just keep it a bean.
Yeah. But Kyrie is the worst, right? Because at least Kevin Durant and Ben
actually no.
Durant's not too bad of a defender.
Yeah, they have the ability.
As of right now, on the defensive side of the ball, Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant are ranked bottom in the league in defensive plus minus.
So that's why I said ability. I didn't say right now.
Yeah. Now I'll give Kevin Durant this. He does do a pretty decent job of protecting the rim and using his size. I will give him that much, but yeah, Brooklyn not stopping the nosebleed, man. Let's just keep it what it is.
How long do you expect this honeymoon phase to go? I'm just curious.
Let's take a look.
Because if they end up as a top 3 Eastern Conference seed in a month or so, that's way past honeymoon season. I'm not married, so I don't know. Y'all the married brothers on here, so I don't know how long the honeymoon. Y'all may still be in the honeymoon phase. I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm 3 years in, but that honeymoon phase is long gone.
So enlighten me, how long you expect this one to last?
I'm finna look at their schedule now, see who they have coming up.
I was just curious, bro.
All right, so today they have the Clippers. That's actually a winnable game for them because the Clippers, that's the other side of LA that has problems. They got the Lakers tomorrow, so they definitely can win that one.
And by then they're gonna be top 5. You want to keep going?
I'm gonna keep going.
You want to keep going?
They got a reasonable schedule, so this honeymoon phase could last. I'm gonna keep it real. Could damn near last the rest of this month, the rest of November. So, yeah, revisit me.
That's the trolling off for you, Lito, right there, brother.
Come back to me come All-Star break. Because they
I'm at that point in my life. I'm not debating anybody about the Brooklyn Nets. Like it is what it is. So I'm just literally just.
We'll have this discussion again.
I'm just hearing the comments.
We'll have this discussion again in January. We'll see where we at, where they at.
Can I talk again?
I'm sorry, Sharky.
I thought you was done.
No, he got cut off. I wasn't done.
Yeah, he did get cut off. That's my bad.
You paused for a minute. I thought you were done.
No, I got cut away.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Like I was saying, coaching matters. Steve Nash, they did the job of firing him early in the season, like they should have. So I'm just hoping Jacque Vaughn can do what he can with this group. So far, it's looking good. I'm rooting for Jacque Vaughn. So whatever happens the rest of the season, hopefully he gets opportunity either with the Nets or somewhere else that's a less toxic situation. But what does scare me is when Kyrie returns, it could change the dynamic, but who knows what could happen at that point. All right, anybody got anything else? Cool. Let's take a break for our sponsor. Let's Be Real Media is pleased to announce we are sponsored by Ralph Brand. Ralph culture is surrounded by skates, punk, and hip-hop art. We are looking forward to co-designing materials for this journey with them. Please visit rapbrand.com for purchasing merch now and for future collaborations with Let's Be Real Media. All right, we back, man. College football playoff. Once again, we recorded last week, but the game happened after we recorded anyway. Tennessee finally took our first loss to Georgia. A lot of people acting like Georgia wasn't defending national champions for whatever reason, but the college football committee did kind of mess up having Georgia number 3 last week in the first rankings. But neither here nor there. Pretty much Georgia dominated the game, you want to be honest. But Tennessee still kept fighting and really made the score respectable. But in the new rankings, after LSU defeated Alabama later that night, the new rankings came out, and Georgia did jump to the top with Ohio State number 2, Michigan number 3, and TCU at 4, and Tennessee at 5. So, and Oregon is at 6. And be mindful, Oregon has 1 loss, and they could possibly win the Pac-12 championship. So, seeing how the standings shake out, what are Tennessee's hopes for getting back in the college football playoff? What do y'all think needs to happen for them to get back in the top 4 at the end of the season? We start with Trevor.
Personally, if we want to keep it logical, Tennessee has to not only win out, but they got to be impressive in these last couple of games. Between Ohio State and Michigan, one of those teams is going to be out because they have to play each other, and somebody has to lose that game. And if you're looking for a playoff spot between Tennessee, the loser, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, assuming TCU takes a loss, you got to, and this is not Phantom aside, you have to go with Tennessee because Tennessee, even with the loss to Georgia, still has probably the most impressive resume of all of the one-loss teams in this point in time. Granted, yes, it came to the number 1 team in the nation in Georgia, and that touchdown towards the end may be probably the most important touchdown in Tennessee's history right now, because I've seen it where they're trying to find a way to keep Tennessee out of the college football playoff, saying that Georgia dominated. And granted, they did. Tennessee did turn it around in the second half and only holding them to 3 points, but by that time, the game was probably over. And then the talks about Oregon, whose 1 loss again was to Georgia, but I'm just gonna keep it real. As I mentioned, Georgia dog walked them in week 1. It was 49-3, 49-6, something like that. I can't remember exactly. So for Tennessee is just continue to do what you've been doing all season. Just win out the rest of the games, finish 11-1. Somebody between Ohio State and Michigan is going to lose, and if TCU somehow takes a loss either this week to Texas or next week to Baylor, then you're right back in the college football playoff. Because, again, I don't see how you be probably in this pool of one-loss teams and the resume that you have thus far with the teams that you've beaten. You're 4-1 against the top 25. You can't really just dismiss that. So, in the end, just win out and just hope for some few losses. You're guaranteed at least 1 loss between Ohio State and Michigan. And then if TCU somehow loses within the next 2 weeks, you're right back in the college football playoff. No questions asked.
I think it's
I was about to say, I think.
Go
ahead. No, I was about to say, it's one of those things that's mind the business that pays you. All you have to do, in my opinion, if you're UT, it's just win out. Trevor said, you'll be 11-1. You have already one of the better records, one of the better resumes in college football right now. As my daughter shushing me. So, I think mind the business that pays you. Try to get out of those next 3 games as healthy as possible. And I think at the end of the day, the committee will find a reason or find a way to get 2 SEC teams in the Final Four. So I think if you're UT, I think you don't have much to worry about.
I think UT fans need to be UT fans. And what I mean by that is y'all hope that my Longhorns can pull out a win against TCU. I think that'll help out a lot. That, as well as everything what Trevor just said as far as winning out, I think y'all be y'all just right there, and then the fact that Ohio State and Michigan do play against each other, that'll help out a lot. So I think just win out, honestly, you know what I'm saying? And if Texas can beat TCU today, I think that'll help out even more.
Yeah, I'm thinking I mean, Ohio State, Michigan play each other, like you said. Even TCU went out. We're back. We should be back in. What does give me pause is the committee. And wait, it's not so much committee. Watching the college football playoff show this past week, especially Kirk Herbstreit, he just they were acting like if let's say LSU wins out, would they get in as SEC champion, 2-loss team? Tennessee beat LSU at LSU by 27 points. There's no possible way you quit LSU over this. That just makes absolutely no sense. I don't care if they won the SEC championship. We literally beat. If SEC changed their divisional format, we would be in the SEC championship against Georgia.
Yeah,
we're going SEC championship because they're in the opposite division. We would be going against Georgia in the SEC championship. So it's kind of like that still wouldn't make sense jumping a 2-loss LSU team over a 1-loss Tennessee team who beat LSU at LSU, not beat them at home, beat them at LSU.
Yeah.
Then so it's just like stuff like that, or Oregon being a Pac-12 champion, but their 1 loss came to Georgia, and much worse than how we lost to Georgia. They lost 49. Yeah. Like the stuff they were trying to come up with was like, all right, Kirk Herbstreit. Right.
I mean, LSU, and let's just keep it real. LSU winning right now and could possibly win out and get to the SEC championship. That helps Tennessee. It helps Tennessee because again, Tennessee has that true road win at LSU. LSU was ranked in the top 25 at the time by 23 points. So LSU having this impressive stretch, it only helps Tennessee at this point.
Exactly. Then I guess if that happens, would they put 3 SEC teams in? Because it'd be hard to put Tennessee and Georgia in and not put the SEC champion in, because Georgia will still make it even if they lose to LSU in the championship game. So there are a lot of different scenarios. I guess in those cases, we need TCU to lose. We would need Oregon, USC, because USC has 1 loss as well, and they're number 8. So I'm pretty sure they're going to play each other. We need both of them to lose a game, maybe to Utah, who has 2 losses. So it's a lot of different moving parts. But Tennessee being at 5 after this previous week should be a good sign for them being able to get back in at any given point.
So we got a question from our guys at Fat Boy Fadeaway that asks, is Alabama finally not going to make it? That is 100% confirmed after their loss to LSU. Shout out to LSU for actually going for 2 in overtime after scoring their touchdown and actually going forward and getting it. So, yeah, Alabama will not, unless between LSU and Ole Miss completely fall apart and Alabama's in the SEC championship, it's pretty much confirmed they're not going to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, you're in that case. They lost to us. The 2-loss Alabama team gets a 1-loss UT team that they lost to. It goes back to the same scenario. LSU just if they put in them teams above us, then it's time to get rid of college football playoff. There's no point of it.
What this all says is we need an expansion, and hopefully within 2 years that expansion is is happening.
Oh yeah! Shout out to who's Notre Dame, boy. They blew Clemson.
Yeah, shout out to Notre Dame for dog walking Clemson, man, for showing Clemson who the real Notre Dame is. Let's get
right. I was happy for their coach because we support that coach.
He's had a lot, man. He's gone through a lot, and probably is not going to finish the season. I hope he gets another opportunity, if not with Notre Dame, with somewhere else. But yeah, that was a feel good moment for him. So shout out.
Yeah, definitely. Toot, you say you had a question?
Yeah, just real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm just curious. How confident are y'all to see UT be a top 4 by the end of the season? Just right now.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would go 8. Because barring a complete collapse, the rest of the season, because these last 3 games for UT are relatively easy. They're against Missouri, against Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Missouri has a terrible offense. South Carolina can't protect their quarterback, and then Vanderbilt is, let's just keep it real, it's Vanderbilt. So I'll go 8, but the only reason I'm not going any higher is because Tennessee is going to need some help. I think they still get in possibly as maybe a 3 or a 4. They may do a 4 just to set up that rematch with Georgia. That's if TCU runs the table. So, yeah, I'll go 8 because one of those spots is going to be open because Ohio State and Michigan play each other, as we've already said. And one of those teams is more likely going to be out.
Yep, I go step above to 9. Ohio State and Michigan play each other. We're going to get in over the loser of that game. At that point, it comes down. If TCU lose, we're definitely in at that point. Because at that point, it'll be us in the Pac-12 champion at that time. But if TCU don't lose, then they'll try to make argument for the Pac-12 champion over us. That would be what would discussions going on. That's what gives me pause from going up to 10.
I think it's a 9 too. Like I know I had the reaction that Jacque did, but I think at the end of we know what it is. Like, like I think to what Jacque said, like I think everybody in front of them or everybody that's around, whether it's TCU or Notre Dame, Michigan, I just honestly feel like one of those teams, if two of those three teams will lose, I'm pretty sure Michigan won't get in. So there's that. And I have a feeling that even if TCU does not lose, there's always going to be that voter confidence to say, I kind of rather put an SEC team over a Pac-10 school or a Big Ten school. I just feel like that's what it is. Like, let's get again to keep it up. Let's keep it 100, bro. Like, I think that's what they're gonna do. So I think at the end of the day, Tennessee will find some way to get in.
Yeah, here we go. Let's transition to the NFL. Another game of contenders and pretenders. So got 4 new teams this week. Let's start teams. I didn't really some of these teams didn't even think I would have in this category, but let's go and start with my team, the Tennessee Titans. Last week was kind of the prove-it game, in my opinion, against the Kansas City Chiefs, and we led pretty much the entire game until our offense coordinator mixed with the referees decided to make sure Pat Mahomes don't reign supreme in the end to win the game. But big game having to lead the majority of the game, holding Kansas City to 9 points. Our defense playing 91 snaps. Our entire secondary played 91 snaps in that game, which is wild. Pat Mahomes throwing 68 times just to get 400-some yards. That showed me a lot. So, contender, Tennessee Titans. Y'all think they're legit contenders or are they pretenders?
I'll go first. First of all, I'm offended that the Steelers have not been in this conversation this year, though.
What?
I'm just playing. I think the Titans are pretenders. I think I have a tier 1, tier 2 in the AFC right now. Their tier 1 is Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore Ravens. And I feel like any team underneath that 3 is I just feel like it's not happening. There's a scenario in my head I don't see where you're making it to the Super Bowl and probably not even the AFC Championship. I mean, there's a scenario in which it can happen. I'm just not confident in saying it. And so I think we've seen what Ryan Tannehill is right now. Malik Willis needs time. And I think if that's what your resume is as a team going into the playoffs, we're trying to battle for a seed. I just don't see you as a contender if you don't have your quarterback question answered.
I think you stole the words literally right out of my mouth. Like, of course, like I'm gonna go pretenders as well. I'm gonna go because y'all back to playing y'all normal football. Defense pretty good. Running game, Derrick Henry doing his damn thing. I think he back number 1, I believe. But still, that question at quarterback is literally the only thing that stop y'all from being a contender.
Yeah, that's a question. But last time I checked, the Tennessee Titans play in the AFC South, which is god awful. So I'm going contenders. They're going to have a home playoff game. We really can't really judge the Titans until they have their home playoff game or whichever their first playoff game really is. And yeah, they have questions at the quarterback position with Malik Willis and Ryan Tannehill, obviously, but it looks like they're getting back to doing their formula. What works for them which is running the football with Derrick Henry, playing some outstanding defense. I know Jeffrey Simmons is going to be out of the lineup for a little bit. So the defense may take just a little hit, but all it really takes is the right matchup. And yeah, they may have to go into Buffalo or into Kansas City for a possible AFC championship if they were to get that far. Let's just call it what it is. If they're in Buffalo, they can run the football. 9 out of 10 is going to be snowing. Tennessee knows how to run the football. And then in Kansas City, they were one Patrick Mahomes big run away from possibly going to the Super Bowl the last time they had a playoff game against Kansas City in Kansas City. So this team actually is one of those teams, kind of like what we were talking about with the Giants the last time we record. they can get to the playoffs, they can get hot, and then before you know it, they're in the AFC Championship or they're in the Super Bowl. So for right now, because they have the formula and because they're in the AFC South, I'm just gonna go with Contenders because I think once they get over that hump for that one home playoff game, then the sky will be the limit. That'll be a jump start that Tennessee needs.
Man, that was some really great points, Trevor. One thing about the Titans, I definitely can say, our game travels. And seeing that game last Sunday night showed me that it was like, okay, I'm not scared to go Kansas City in playoff time. We played Buffalo back in week 2. We're a much better team now. I'm not scared to go to Buffalo, and because at that time, like I said, it might be snowing. They can pass all day. They want to in the snow. We gonna run it. Derrick Henry back. But the reason I'm gonna go with Pretender is one reason. It's not even so much a quarterback question. It's the offensive coordinator. And wide receiver is a way bigger question, which who we traded, AJ Brown, right? Malik Willis threw some passes last week. And what we had, drop. Now we do have somebody coming back, but when you're depending on rookie wide receivers, in our case, our 2 best wide receivers are rookies, Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. Traylon Burks is coming back this week, Kyle Phillips in a couple more weeks. And another Racing McMahon, hopefully we get him back, second-year player. Your best receivers are literally all young. And you got to depend on that when it gets time to make plays in the playoffs. That's a little leery. So that's why I go Pretender. Quarterback, I think Tannehill's gonna start again once he's ready. I think Malik Willis, he has the time. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be good. I'm glad he gets the reps in. Last week his receivers didn't do him no favors, or his offensive coordinator, and he's the number one reason. Todd Downey, Mike Vrabel didn't fire him. At the very least, after the playoff game last year, he should have been gone. If you could get rid of Tannehill because a lot of those plays were on him just as much as it was on Tannehill. So Todd Downey will be our downfall when bored down to it, and that's the reason I got us as Pretenders.
Fair enough.
Yep. All right, the next team, which Scott alluded to in his top 3, so I guess I don't know what he got for them. The Baltimore Ravens, team that they very well could have, woulda, coulda, shoulda, could be undefeated. They blew double-digit lead in their 3 losses, right? They have had a couple, got back on track now. They are 6-3, and they're back in the thick of it. With AFC is crazy anyway with these records. You got the Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, Jets, Titans. They all in the Dolphins. They are all in the same, all battling for no more seats at this point. But Baltimore Ravens, Contenders, Pretenders.
I'm going Contender for 2 reasons, but one of these reasons is it's much higher than the second one, and it's because it's Lamar Jackson. I was very critical of Lamar Jackson and Steelers when he's playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But outside of that, he's dynamic. I mean, if you talk about his arm talent, it's there. His ability to run the football, like the Baltimore's ability to run the football. I think Trevor, you talked about that. And their defense is playing better too. That's the second reason. Defense was a reason why some of those leads were getting blown, where Lamar Jackson was throwing for or running for 200-300 or throwing for 200-300, whatever the case may be, getting 3 or 4 touchdowns, but then defense will allow the Miami Dolphins or allow some other team to come back. So their defense is playing a whole lot better now. They got Roquan Smith, which is a favorite linebacker of mine, can tackle like with the best of them for sure. So I think with the addition of that too, I have them as a contender for sure.
Yeah, I had them as contenders as well. This is probably looking like with the same situation with the Titans, looking like another division winner. They'll probably get a home playoff game. It could probably get some momentum to jump start the playoff run. Lamar Jackson has been sensational this entire season. Definitely should be in the MVP talks if the trophy is not his by now. To Scott's point, the defense is playing a whole lot better because Baltimore has blown some leads this season, which led to their 3 losses. Them getting Roquan Smith from the Bears was just adding more fuel to the fire for the Ravens. And it pains me as a Steelers fan is that Baltimore actually will go out and address a need that their need on either side of the ball, and we just sit idle and do nothing. But that's another story for another day. But the Baltimore Ravens most definitely are contenders. I can definitely see that. So, yeah.
Look, I'm going to keep it real short. It's 2 things you don't mess with about a black man. That's his bag and that's his mama. And you got Lamar Jackson, got his situation in both of them. And y'all telling me he ain't finna throw down? straight up contender, man. Come on now. They doing their thing. Everything y'all said about the defense is spot on. I think they're going to do nothing but get better. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why just OBJ's still out there, wherever the hell he want to go. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see him in a Baltimore uniform. To have at least somebody a wide receiver for Lamar to throw the ball to. But other than that, they're doing their thing. The coach Harbaugh is doing this thing. Like, they're a contender.
Yep, same here. Contender. I've always thought they were at least. My initial thought was Bills, Chiefs. Then that was first tier. Then second tier would be like headlined by the Ravens, Dolphins, maybe Titans in that range. Right now, I'm thinking tier one is expanded a little more. By the way, Buffalo and Kansas City looked last week, and now with Josh Allen's elbow injury, I don't know how long that's going to linger, or we ain't no telling what the injury does. But Baltimore definitely in their contender status. And I mean, like you said, the Roquan Smith trade helped them. Their 3 losses were leads they blown, right? And they were, they could very well be 9-0 right now and be atop the AFC. And everybody's talking about them as the Super Bowl favorites. He even held the Eagles. So yeah, give me contender. And great point too. Don't mess with the man about his bad against mama. Lamar Jackson, he on the road this year. He got something to prove, and can't wait to see him in the playoffs this year to try and overcome his playoff shortcomings that he's had so far in his career. Now, shift things over to the NFC, and I'm going to start with this team who is atop of the NFC West Division at 6-3. A shocker. Geno Smith, man. Geno Smith. Shout out to Geno Smith. Shout out to him. We've never seen this. A player just come and have a late resurgence like he's had. But hey, I'm here for it. Here for the black quarterbacks. Here for the black coach. Well, they don't have black coach, but here for any black coaches anywhere. Seattle Seahawks 6-3, on top of the NFC West by a game and a half. What do y'all got for the Seahawks? Contender or pretender?
I'll go first.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I'm gonna go contender. I'm gonna say contender. I don't want to, but it's just a simple fact that energy matters, and when you get the big guy that's messing up everything out the way, and you're able to see the chemistry that you have and the hungriness that the players have, for sure. Not saying that everybody ain't hungry, for sure. But Geno Smith, he been wanting to prove himself. Pete Carroll, he been wanting to prove himself without Russell Wilson. They defense, they've been wanting to prove themselves, and you still got pretty good core offensively. So I think when you mix all that together and still you got Pete Carroll on that sideline and you see them winning games like this, I mean, early in the season, they lost a few games for sure. But like I said, their chemistry is rolling, and you don't. That's something you don't mess with. So I'm gonna go contender.
Skylar, since you were gonna start, you can go ahead.
Yeah, because I still don't know. Like, that's the thing. I still don't know. It's just because I talked about how I have a tier. I have 2 tiers. Well, several tiers, but like 2 main tiers in the AFC with like teams I could see a scenario in which can go to the Super Bowl or be in the AFC or be in the AFC Championship. I don't have that in the NFC. I feel like the NFC is so wide open, and I feel like there's the Eagles. NFC East alone, the Eagles, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Vikings in another division, the Seahawks in this one. So it's like you got like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 teams that could legit be in the tier 1 of the NFC. And so because I just said that, I think I'm going contenders just because. Granted, I'm not taking anything away from the Eagles, but what they've done, and they look impressive. I will give that to them hands down. But it's just like I'm still not that confident in the Eagles. It's something about like they are legit good. Like I promise you, I think the Eagles are good. Like they kicked the Steelers' ass, by the way. But they look well. They look like a well-oiled machine on offense. Defensively, they look good. You could say that low-key. I mean, you can't say that offensively and defensively, but the Cowboys are up there. The Vikings are up there. Kirk Cousins are like, it's so many teams. So I just don't know. And because I don't know, I'm going contender.
Man, I honestly do not know either. Your questions about the Philadelphia Eagles, I have about the Seattle Seahawks. I'm just gonna keep it a bean. Like I'm happy that Geno Smith has had this huge resurgence to his career in Seattle. I think them getting Russell Wilson up out of there seemed like it's working out well for them right now. But Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll, man. He's gonna find a way to screw this up one way or another. Yeah, they may win the NFC West. They may not because they only are about a game and a half ahead, if I'm not mistaken, from San Francisco, who that's another team that's just up and down. You don't know where exactly things are going to go. So they may not even win the NFC West. So, I mean, if that's the case, they're either, I'm going to say pretenders for now, because they're atop the NFC West. They'll probably, if things stay the way they are, they'll probably have a home game against probably the Giants or somebody, and the Giants who's looked pretty much like a whole complete resurgence franchise as well. The Giants can go into Seattle and actually beat the Seahawks. So for now, I'm just gonna say pretenders. Because I have my questions, but it's still can't quite put my finger on it with Seattle just yet.
Yeah, this one is tough. That's what I thought. I thought of it. I was like, man, let me put the Seahawks on here and see. Took's point about energy. You feel it, and especially with their draft. They're starting 2 rookie corners, and they're both doing like really well. Kenneth Walker from Memphis, Arlington, at running back. He's a rookie, and he's just like, I mean, he a monster, right? Then you got Geno Smith playing out of his mind. And someone did make a good point on Twitter one time, just arguing about Geno Smith, saying like he only really had 3 years as a starting quarterback, right? And we all just kind of judged him off of what happened with New York Jets when New York Jets were bad. It wasn't just him. And then the Giants, he never got a shot because of really politics. I think Eli Manning was about to retire. They drafted Daniel Jones. So hearing those things and like seeing like when he came in for Russ last year, he played fairly decent. And now he started and he's finally getting his opportunity where he's the guy and actually have a coach who believe in him. I'm going to go on here and say contender. I could see a scenario where Seattle can go to Philadelphia and beat them. I could see a scenario where Seattle can go to Minnesota and beat them in the playoffs. I really can. Don't ask me how, but I can see it. Now we could be wrong very well as soon as tomorrow when they play Tampa Bay in Germany. But I'm gonna go contender right now for the Seahawks. And let's finish up with none other than, of course, the Cowboy fan isn't here, but the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott's returned. Dallas is 6-2. Defense has been really good this year. Running game, hopefully Tony Pollard is finally the starting running back after last week's performance, but we shall see. Running game has been well. They still have a question pretty much a receiver, but their running game is going well. Defense, same things as other teams to talk about, like the Titans. I think they have a better offense coordinator than the Titans, so that's why I had the Cowboys on this list. So contender or pretender.
There are so many things about the Cowboys that almost automatically, like if you took away certain aspects of the Cowboys, in my opinion, you would automatically put them as a contender. But there are 2 things, and these are 2 very important things about the Dallas Cowboys that concern me. One is Mike McCarthy is still there, ladies and gentlemen. I know Dan Quinn is coaching that defense like none other. And I know that Tony Pollard is helping revive their running game. And the Dallas Cowboys have had Dak Prescott and whatever the other guy's name is at quarterback. And they look good. They legit look good. But Mike McCarthy is still there. And granted, we have not all been fans of Stephen A. Smith lately. But one thing that man is right about is what can go wrong will go wrong for the Dallas Cowboys. And because of those 2 things, they are a pretender.
Yeah. For those exact reasons, I can't. I want to put them as a contender so bad, so bad. But some's telling me that if they will have to go to the NFC South division winner, and they will probably somehow lose that game, whether it be to the Buccaneers, hell, even Tuke's Panthers, if they somehow was to come back and win the NFC South. Like, I can 100% see that scenario. Like, I want to put Dallas as a contender so bad. Dak Prescott's back. They're running the ball well with Tony Pollard as well as Zeke. Defensively, Michael Parsons, we've already gave him his flowers and things of that nature. Like, they have everything to be successful and to go make a deep playoff run. But because it's the Cowboys, because we know whatever typically can go wrong for Dallas will go wrong. I don't know why I see it, but I see them going to Carolina and losing to Carolina in a divisional playoff game, which will probably bring the utmost of joy to my alien brother too. Yeah, for that reason, man, I'm going Pretenders, but I really want to say Contenders so bad. But it's someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's just that simple with the Dallas Cowboys.
It's a commandment, my brother.
Yep.
Hey, appreciate that love too, man. Appreciate that love.
I mean, look, the NFC South is wide open at this point. So Brady's washed. The Saints are the Saints. They don't even know who they want as they starting quarterback. The Falcons don't want to throw to Kyle Pitts, and then
should have beat them twice. But let me read off some of y'all real quick. Wild card, division, wild card. That has been. Let me make sure I do this right. That has been the playoff success of the Dallas Cowboys since 2003. If I need to go further, I will, but I don't have to. We all know they're pretenders because everything that will go wrong about the Cowboys can go wrong, will go wrong. If they show you who you are, damn it, you believe them. Commandment, Cowboys are pretenders. Sorry, not sorry, Cheated. Wish you can be here, but you got obligations, and I understand.
Yeah, I honestly could see them going to some NFC South team, and we're just sitting here like, oh my God, how did they lose to this team? So, oh my goodness, for the love of God, Dallas, I would love to be wrong, but I just can't see it. Like, prove me wrong. I will gladly come on here and apologize to Cowboy Nation if I'm proved wrong. But until then, I'm sticking with what I know.
Yeah, I lean towards Pretender as well. I'm trying to see why I picked the Seahawks.
Why are you leaning?
Because I'm trying to figure out why I choose the Seahawks as contenders and the Cowboys as pretenders when you could say the same exact thing about Pete Carroll as Mike McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
I think the difference is the unknown. I haven't seen Geno Smith is a new character in this book that we haven't seen him in playoff situations and stuff, and that's why I lean contender to them and pretender for the Cowboys because I have seen Dak Prescott not come through when it's time for him to come through. I've seen Mike McCarthy, same as Pete Carroll. Both of them have choked. Both of them also won Super Bowl. Both the quarterbacks that they had also haven't won Super Bowl since them as well. So you can make the same case. I can't say Mike McCarthy only won Super Bowl because Aaron Rodgers now, because you see what Aaron Rodgers looking like, and what he's looked like since in the playoffs. But I've seen this book written with him and Dak. They're gonna have to prove me wrong before we put them in contender status. They're like how my Titans. Y'all gonna prove me wrong. Ryan Tannehill gonna prove me wrong. Dak Prescott, y'all gonna prove me wrong when it's time. So I'm gonna go pretender. Yeah, I've seen this with the same iteration of the team. So give me pretender.
If I can throw an analogy out there real quick before we leave, the Dallas Cowboys are like Coop from All American. Like really great character. I love the storyline that comes with it. But Coop is gonna find a way to mess something up. Yep. Find a way. Like, how in the world did you mess up this situation? How did you ruin this season the way that you ruined this season? The Dallas Cowboys are Coop from All American.
No, you wrong for that, dog.
You know why it's funny? Because he ain't lying. It's true.
And I cannot wait for in about 2.5 months. Shark is gonna have to rerun this clip. Because why? Because at the end of the day, Coop is gonna Coop. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be the Dallas Cowboys. So in about 2.5 months, Shark is gonna be pulling this clip again, and we're gonna be running it back on YouTube. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
So in a couple of episodes, she's gonna do something to piss off Miss Baker. Gotcha.
And it's that same tire, like every time, bro. It's the same face. The face that she makes when she messes up is the exact face that every Dallas Cowboy fan has when they find a way to lose to a team that they should not be losing to.
I've spoken into existence. I really want the NFC.
They find ways to mess it up. It's literally like, how did you come up with the way to lose this game?
Skylar lives for the toxicity. Now I want it to happen. I want the Cowboys. I want the Panthers to win the NFC South now, and I want them to beat the Cowboys in a home playoff game. Just so I have to just sit back and watch Sheedy have to deal with Toop on this podcast the moment after that happens.
Because he been mean. He been mean to me the last couple of years.
Oh man, that's great. That was great. That was great into the episode. Great into the episode. Marvelous job. Oh man, and it does it, y'all. We had a couple trolls in here and a bunch of other stuff throughout this episode. But as always, Wakanda forever, like she did showing. I mean, not she did too. My bad, bro. Took is showing on the screen right now. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, LBR_media. Subscribe on any podcast network that you listen to audio-wise, and we are also on YouTube live every Saturday morning and on the recording afterward. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DAONE_PShark, and I am not verified.
I'm also not verified. Like, I don't even make that type of money to be trying to get verified. I'm at _Skylater on Twitter. Sneak Fest is today. UFC 281 today. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good Saturday.
Man, with that $8, I can give me a nice little box from Popeyes. I ain't verified either. I'm at the Art of Trevor. That's my starting 5-stick. Rest in peace to the great show Atlanta. Of course, the series finale was just this past Thursday. And go see Black Panther. I'm going next weekend.
Yeah, make sure y'all follow me at Tab Shakir. Just a word of advice: bring some tissue with you if you're going to see Wakanda Forever. I'm telling you. And there is one end credit scene, so you got to say for the rest. Just let y'all know, just one.
And of course, follow our fifth member. It's Sheedy. It's really Sheedy. And follow our other guy on LBR Media, of course, Savage at MSavage901. And of course, check out their podcast at 3 the Harder Way. And check us out, Grizzly Bear Blues, SB-Grizzly Bear Blues Podcast Network. The Starting 5 podcast is, of course, we're coming every single week. And with the Grizzlies, exciting times around here. And of course, man, that's what we are. We everywhere. But until next time, peace.
Peace.